Leave a little follow up based on this passage. I love when I got this message from my friend this week because I love talking about this. Ever since I was a child, I've been interested in sci fi, reading it, finding space music, as I would call it, from Japan, all kinds of things. And so I wanted to share as additional disclosure happens, is to remember that you, the listener here, are an eternal being and you are always moving in and out of dimensions. And in this current moment, even with you listening, we are held in a certain dimensional field to experience this. And that gives it a sense of feeling solid. But if any of you listening have ever had experiences in your dreaming state in the physical world and or in lucid states, you will understand that there are different dimensional fields and different dimensional awarenesses, and one is not more important than the other. You might wish to stay in one place versus the other, and it's always important if you're having these like very lucid dreams, you've had unexplainable experiences in this physical reality or in lucid states, to always have checks and balances. And the reason for this is so that there is not a delusion or someone doesn't run off and get so fixated on the perception of what they perceived that they lose sight of having to go and fetch water and chop wood for the dimension that most of their attention is placed in. And this is so important because what might happen as additional information is shown. I think there's enough people in this world system that have seen things that they know in their heart are real, and they may not be able to explain them, and they may not be able to access them at all times. So it'll be interesting how this is disseminated to the masses. From my perspective, it's really the interdimensional conversation, as I've talked about here in this response. The need for ships and all of that seems kind of unnecessary, in my opinion, because you can go into lucid states and gather information, and or you can work to become adept at certain skills, which could take many lifetimes, so that you can visit wherever you need to visit. You can relocate your attention where it needs to be. You don't require machines. So this will be an interesting moment for humanity because it's kind of like that breakaway moment where a lot of people have been experiencing things. A lot of people have been manipulated to believe certain things, and now we're going to have this great conversation come forward. And I guess it's more of a freedom to have the conversation, where before it was like we can't talk about that. And these are all questions you want to ask, like why what is the reason to keep all this quiet? Because as I mentioned here, most all nations across this world system have practices, ceremonial practices, to connect with these beings. And those beings are not necessarily bad or good. A lot of times they are there to guide and give information. One nation I know of uses it so they can take care of their community and food and all that stuff. So it's really can be really beautiful. And then there are people that are beings that are negative, and that has been a big discussion, and people kind of labeling everything demonic or this or that. Those people that do say that a lot, I'm pretty sure you don't know what that is. And there are some of you that have seen that and know what that is. But, by shaming and calling people that you don't know, and they're just kind humans, it's just not appropriate. So I'd refrain from that. Until you've met one. Like if you've really met one, you'll know. Like you'll know. then, then you'll realize, oh my gosh, I like labeled all these people these bad things. And remember, we're talking about cause and effect. So your attachment to what you perceive to be right, and then you project it on someone else, is, basically you're creating karma, cause and effect for yourself. And as I've shared with my children, we all have a free will. We have the choice to think, speak, and act in the way that we are inspired to, and hopefully it's done with awareness and with a will not to cause harm to any beings. And within that, no matter what you choose to think, speak, or do, there are consequences. And we're really at that tipping point where all the people that have kind of gone along with the quote unquote program, do as you're told kind of thing, are rising up, and they're at a no. So it'll be a little shocking for certain people when they get that pushback. And as it relates to the interdimensional beings, understand that a lot of these interdimensional beings manipulate humans, physical humans. And I'll see this a lot at death, especially people that maybe have gone through a lot of trauma. They might have imbalances in the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies. There are beings there. And that's why in different theological faiths, they have processes to, and in tribal situations, to eradicate these beings. And even in different sciences, they have accounts for this, and where they come in and where they come out. And it's important to understand that if you're speaking out and like labeling and projecting someone, that's not helping at all. And then if you yourself feel like you're not completely alone within yourself, please reach out, because you don't have to be encumbered by that. And it's your time, every single person that's listening, to reclaim your field. You no longer have to be held hostage to things impeding on you, whether it's your neighbor, whether it's something that you can't see, all those things. You do not have to be held hostage to that, and you don't need to waste your precious energy on that. So as we continue on with this conversation, also to remember that, a lot of the narratives have been designed to keep everyone separate. And I feel us humans, the humanity that runs through all of us, will shift quite dynamically when they start to understand that there are these beings, and there's, some very nice beings that don't look like humans, and they don't mean harm. And there's ones that aren't so well behaved and could be harmful, no different than the humans. There are those two, that full spectrum. So I encourage you just to create space to understand that all things are phenomena, and to decide where you want to place your attention. And that brings me to divine love. If you allow yourself to rest in divine love, if you're open to resting in divine love, you will be really, really pleasantly surprised, because no matter what your faith or no faith is, that field is running through all of that. And as you expand that, you will be supported in a way that is unexplainable. And it doesn't really belong, in my humble opinion, to any one thing. It's there, and it's yours, because it's interfacing. You are part of it to be with. And it's a much more easy road to be. Sometimes there's adversity in people's lives, there's strife, but if they remember it's right there, that field, they can find support in ways, or at least a little bit more comfort as they walk through the adversity. So next note is on, as I mentioned here real quick, is first divine love. Yes, there are interdimensional beings, and they have been an integral part of this world system. As far as UAPs, I feel that technology is related to many things. I'm not going to talk about it too much because I don't really want to be harassed. But I want you to remember that you have the opportunity to think of it this way. If you can learn from meditation and being in your sit how to understand where you can observe from your dimensional awareness and how you can utilize that here in the present moment, and where your second attention can be to help you understand and traverse this very multi-dimensional reality that we live in. I think that will give you so much benefit. And that's just simply sitting, spending time, as I mentioned. And then as we go into this era, it is really about regeneration. There's no deficit based, quote unquote, model. It's just regenerative. It keeps growing and growing and growing. And if you don't understand that, go and look at it. Ear of corn, look at how many ears of corn grow on one stalk of corn that grows up. Look at how many seeds are in a watermelon. Look at how many seeds are in a pumpkin. It is so regenerative. And so the construct is about to shift for the benefit of humanity. And even if those that want to still have the construct of a deficit-based system, it's just not going to work, because the consciousness is shifting. It has shifted. And now we get to talk about how we really are engaging with this multifaceted reality that many of you probably have experienced, like I said, in dreaming attention, in a lucid state, in the waking state. And the part of that is just to make sure you always corroborate it. It's like someone that goes into a medicine journey. They receive all this information. I see this a lot these days. People run out and want to take action on that information. It can literally take your rest of your life to understand what was transmitted in some of those medicine ceremonies. So if you're one of those people that's always trying to devour them, remember to go easy with that. We're not in a rush. We have infinity to work with, and it's such a beautiful place. So if you want to use one simple tenet or two simple tenets to not cause harm to self or others with your mental, physical, emotional, or spiritual body, and then number two, to really anchor yourself in divine love, unexplainable love. This isn't relationship love. This isn't parent to child love. Divine, pure love that will help you most in this moment. And then finally, where we can know that a lot of it's really, I want to say, it's important that you understand that a lot of our history has been either misunderstood or manipulated to create a framework for that which we're breaking out of. And the simple example I'll give you is that when I graduated from architecture school, I had already been working in the field, graduated, was working at the time in the field, commercial architecture and design, and took a trip to Greece, went to the Acropolis and stood at the base of those buildings. They're so tall. And the precision was so precise that I was like, there's no way this could be possible, that humans did it in the way I was just taught. We took a lot of art history. We taught all kinds of engineering, architecture history, design history. I was like, there's no way this happened. And then as years went on, going to Rome subsequent times and touring around there and seeing all kinds of things that did not make sense as to how they landed there from like Egypt. How did all those things land there? Right now, we're going to unlock that puzzle. And in that initial moment when I was in Greece, I didn't have anything other than liking some sci-fi things, and I called it space music, but no reason to call it or point to something else. And so as we learn about that, it's going to be exciting. And for some, it might be confusing. And if you have any questions, you want to chat about it, please reach out. And I can share, I can help ground you and keep you from getting into a delusional state or running off in a direction that's kind of endless. Just remember that your most important place to be is right here, right now. And if you can focus in the present moment with this attention, meaning that You're still aware of things going around you beyond the immediate observation. But that immediate observation allows you to be of service to yourself and others. And it allows you to stay focused. So, if inspired, start from there. And if you have questions, you can share them below or send me an email. Thank you for listening, and have fun with your disclosure. And hopefully it'll be something a little bit more substantial than Atari videos, but we shall see. All right. Stay alert, awake, and in love. No fear.